Hey everyone, my name is Khaja, and thank you so much for downloading Nimble's Ultimate Content Planner. Now, the Content Planner was specially created by me to give you a better understanding and framework to help you map out your inbound marketing efforts much better in 2019. So I hope you're ready. Let's go. Now, before I begin, let me just remind you that if you were to download this content planner from our website, the content planner will be given to you as a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, which is why if you were to download this off from your mobile phones, I don't think it's going to work as well. So I would highly recommend that in order for you to benefit greatly from this video tutorial, that you download this off from your computer on the desktop so that I can walk you through the planner together here in this video tutorial. All right. So that's one. And then secondly, of course, what I have here is the Google Sheet version of that, which is really exactly the same thing. So you do not have to worry if the content is different or not. They're exactly the same. I have the same 3 tabs here. And I want to explain to you basically what are the functionalities of the first 3 tabs so that you can have a better understanding of how to actually use this for your business moving forward. All right, I hope you're ready. So if you are here on our on the Excel spreadsheet, you will essentially see 3 different tabs. So we have one called Nimble Strategy, another one called Content Longform, and another one is called Content Shortform. So essentially, the first page or the first tab is a written introduction of what inbound marketing is and basically what our philosophies when it comes to inbound marketing as a whole, and really a welcome note. So you don't have to worry about the first page. However, if you were to scroll down just a little bit, you will see that I have here a big giant tree. Now, this tree is an illustration of how HubSpot has basically taught us about what effective inbound marketing is really like. And so basically it is a combination of having short form content, which is what we are all doing by now, which is our social media posts via your static visuals or your videos. So these are considered short form content. And we also have what we call long form content, which is what I love the most, which is, the blogs, the articles, or even the podcast. So the idea here is for you to really see, how it is important for you to actually have a basic framework to your overall content strategy. So let's start to actually build the seeds of your content strategy through short form, and how all of this would eventually be nurtured and to grow into a library of content that is far more engaging than what we currently have in our businesses. So the idea of the content planner is to really get you to have an understanding of what it really takes to build an audiences from the ground up. So it's very, very important that we build this organically through content like short form and long form, which is why at the top here, you would see that I have here a quote by Mark Schaefer, which is really like my guru and an awesome content creator himself. And he actually said this: creating great content is not the finish line, it is the starting line, which is absolutely true and so poignant, because once you actually have content and you build it, it is not just publishing it and then you can just go to sleep and that's it. It has a lot to do with what does that content do to your audience to help them, to get them one step closer to a purchase or turn them to a follower or things like that. So do not think that it stops here, that even if you have a content planner like this, the idea here is to really maximize the impact and the true engagement or even the potential of what content creation can be for your business. So I hope that's clear. But here's the thing: once you have the content mapped out, it's important then to actually promote your content. So if you scroll down a little bit more, you will see that I have here a very, very simple graphics to actually show you what are the steps a basic understanding of what are the steps to actually promote your content, redistribute your content, or repurpose your content. And of course, all of these things will not matter if we don't measure the success of our content. And usually it's a lot to do with the top funnel of how we actually bring traffic to our website. So I actually have it all there. So you can actually take a look at this diagram here on your own. All right. So I hope that was okay. I hope you that was an okay video to basically have a run through of what the entire content planner is for, and on to my second video. Back to our tutorial on the content planner, and before I begin, let me just share with you that our content planner is by no means set in stone. What it does is it's just a basic framework for you to actually visualize your entire year's worth of content planning. So if you think that you want to customize certain tabs and actually have your own notes or have an extra row and things like that, feel free to customize the content planner in whatever way that you want. Of course, our content planner is going to be pink and all that. So if you're not jiving with pink, you can have it in any other color that you prefer. All right. So remember, it's not set in stone, and the idea here is to really help you map out your content strategy a lot better. So all right. So I am just gonna actually zoom in a little bit more. I think it's a bit too small. All right. So this is the second tab of our content planner, and it is called Content Longform. Now, as you can see on the pink section here in the first row, we have here specific tabs with different definitions to what is our offering for the year. So what I have here, I've divided it into something like, first tab is a business quarter, because in my mind, I think it's very important for us to actually map out our content journey in quarter. So the first 3 months would actually be your Q1, or and then followed by Q2, the next 3 months, and so forth. So that's one. And we also have, it's important that you actually take a look at or understand what is a SMART goal. So if you just hover around the SMART goals, you will see that immediately this comment box would appear. And I have here with me, SMART goals is defined as something very specific, that's S, or measurable, that's M, or agreed upon or attainable, that's A, and things like that. So this is really, really important that before you even embark on a content marketing, effective content marketing efforts, I think it's important that you actually understand what are your business goals. So the reason why I have here is so that you can actually input your business goals at that particular row, so that you know that whatever that you're doing for that particular month is to actually convert people for that particular business goal. So I hope that's clear. So we are working with a SMART goal for our marketing efforts. Now, this next row, F, this is what we call the Bycicle. I have here again a definition of what is a Bycicle, and it basically is in inbound strategy. It is defined as these 4 stages of awareness, consideration, decision, and conversion. And of course, the last stage will be how do you delight and build loyalty from your fans. So this is the typical Bycicle that we have. And then of course, the next theme, that's row G. And it's important then that you understand that you must have a theme when it comes to your content strategy. And I have here again, if you hover on it, it will say, it says here, what is a content theme? And it's a chosen theme that you can help support your business brand messaging. So it's important that you start thinking about having or clustering or organize your content pillars via themes. All right. So moving forward, you will see here, I'll just bring this a bit down. Yeah. Zoom this out a little bit. So here I have here a purple row on H that says B2B or B2C. Now I don't know if some of you are in the B2B space, or some of you may be in the B2C space. So whatever it is, the idea here is that you need to identify whether or not you're a B2B marketer or a B2C marketer, because whatever block articles or whatever content you are producing, it has a certain tone and it has a certain content that can only resonate with a particular kind of audience. So, for example, right now I'm a B2C marketer. I'm assuming the role of a B2C marketer. So you will essentially see that whatever blog posts or articles that I plan to write or plan to have in videos is really to attain the attention of the B2C market. So so that's very, very important. So you have to first identify yourself. What are you as a marketer? Are you in the B2B space or are you in the B2C space? Because all of that will determine the kind of content that you will be producing for your audience. Okay, so I'm in the space of a B2C industry. So this is what I essentially would want to do as a blog entry. And here's where I actually have in this tab. It says here, this is a blog title that you want to have on your website. So again, remember that whatever that you're doing in terms of the content that you're producing, it always has to be it has to be embedded with a SMART goal in mind. So in this case, for our goal, we want to actually convert over 30 students for our workshop. So what kind of content can we create to get all of our audience one step closer to a purchase decision to actually enroll themselves in a particular workshop? So it's very important that, of course, long form content will only work if you actually have a blog opportunity on your website. So I'm assuming that you do. So if you do, this is great for you. And therefore, this framework will allow you to start thinking about the content that you want to have in your blog as well. So I have it here. The idea here is for you to actually see what the content, a gist of your entire blog entry. You can have it here, before you even start embarking on researching or even writing that particular article. So I have it here. And then the next question, the next tab on row K will be like, how was the content promoted? And again, this will be different from, this will differ from one Bycicle to another. You may want to promote it at one point via word of mouth. You may want to promote it via social. You may want to promote it via EDMs or email marketing. It's really, really up to you. But the idea here is to get very specific with your strategy, so that you can actually have a better understanding of what it takes to actually get people excited about that particular content. So it's up to you how aggressive you want to promote your content. So I have row K here to get you started on the platforms that you can choose to promote your particular long form content. Now, I love row L, honestly. Row L is to see whether or not in that particular week or in that particular month, the kind of engagement I actually have for writing that particular blog. And this is important, right? Because what we don't want is, we do not want to just write a blog for the sake of writing a blog, and just because I have a blog section on my website, I'm just gonna feel I just just want to write a blog because I just have to. I think that's a very silly strategy. It's not focused and definitely not effective. So the idea here is, whatever blog articles that you have in mind, remember that it is supposed to be of value and super helpful and informative to your audience. All right, and what does it take to actually be that helpful? I think this is a question that you have to ask yourself. And the idea here is, if you were that helpful with that blog, are you then engaging with the audience, the readers? So which is why what we want to do is, we want to actually aggressively, or actually force you to actually write blogs that are engaging, right? We want you to get to build your thought leadership and really get you to understand that if you are very focused with your content strategy, via articles that you want to write, what you want to do is, you need to flesh out certain things that can truly resonate with someone's emotions, and they are compelled to actually give you a little comment that goes like, "Thank you for the blog article. This was well researched. I absolutely love it. I'm going to use it for my business, and or I'm actually going to use a product," or things like that. So we want your blog to incite a commenting or encourage a commenting culture amongst your audience. So I think that's really important. So row L is exactly done, or exactly we have done this up. I've done this up for that case, right? We want to actually garner the comments or encourage comments from our readers. So you have to calculate the number of comments that you actually get or if you don't have any comments at all, it will get you to start thinking about like how to actually improve or tweak the blog in such a way that people are just compelled to say thank you to you because it has been so informative, right? All right. So another thing, another creative to long form content is also podcast opportunity, and I talk a lot about this in workshops. But again, maybe I'll do a separate video about podcasts. But the idea here is that podcasts are a really great supplement to your blogs, or it could be your blog is actually, your article is actually repurposed into a podcast episode in itself. So I think that's great. So so that is something that I want to actually encourage for you to think about. Right. So what's next? This tab, row N is what we call, the results. So what ultimately the idea here of you planning your content is to really basically bring traffic to your website. The idea of inbound marketing is that we, what we want to do is we want to educate the public. We want to actually grow organic growth for our audience, from our audience. We want them to be super fans of our work. So in order for us to get there, while the strategy may be long, but it's indefinitely most effective if you actually think about what to say and build an audience that really genuinely is resonating with the business messaging or your values and or you yourself and as a brand. So this is important, that whatever we do, the idea here is, the objective is to get them to come to our website. So it's very important that you measure the success of all of your content efforts. So I have here I have here a column that says is the incremental web traffic resulting from that particular blog month on month. So you can take a look at this, and of course measure this against Google Analytics. Okay, so row P will says here other online initiatives that you may have and you may consider. Now, this is not something that is compulsory, but I highly recommend that you make yourself visible in the digital space. And one of the fastest way to actually be really visible in the online space is if you actually help the community in the online space. And the community or potential customers and audience, they are always hanging out at forums, and one of the biggest forums out there is actually Quora. And if you could actually allay their fears or actually answer a question, this is great, because what you can do is, once you answer a particular question, you can actually incite more activity, where you can actually ask them, come and visit me on my blog on my website, where I'm going to elaborate a lot more on this particular subject matter. So why not visit me? And you put a backlink there. And I think this is an effective way to actually bring traffic from Quora to your website. All right. So that's one. So this is interesting. I also like row R a lot, because row R would actually help you think about the kind of keywords that people are actually using, or your audience or your customers are actually using when they want to actually search for a particular solution to their problem. So I am a big fan of Neil and Neil Patel, and he came up with a tool called Uber Suggest. So I actually have it here. neilpatel.com/ubersuggest helps you brainstorm on some of the keywords that people are researching for, and this would then become the base of what kind of content you can actually produce in order for you to actually tap into the person's fears, the person's needs. And I think that's really important. So I think you should get a hang of Uber Suggest, because we have been using this for our short form content or long form, and I think it is absolutely great. All right. So next, row T is actually how you repurpose the content. And when you repurpose the content, there are several ways to actually repurpose this. But in all honesty, in my mind, or in our mind, is indefinitely for you, trying out things like videos, right? Producing videos, because videos is really the way to go forward. Even if it's a 1 minute or a 5 minute, or it could be an entire tutorial. It's really up to you. And video is the way to go forward. Moving when it comes to your marketing, I think, because it's so much more engaging. People want to see authentic content out there, and I think videos are absolutely key. So I have here, I actually mentioned here, it's not enough to have a content in writing. It's time to promote, and you can actually promote this via video. So the idea of here, the idea of row U is to actually get you to think about the content, the video content title that can actually help support the initial SMART goal of getting 30 signups by the end of the month for our Instagram workshop. Along those lines, all right? Even if you are doing a video, I have actually placed here row V, where row V again is the video converting in terms of like comments. Are people truly engaged with it and things like that? So what we want to do is we want to start tracking the kind of comments that you actually receive via videos or any content creative that you've done, because truly then can you really measure whether or not what you've done is successful. All right, so this portion here is really for the professionals in our space, and that is the tapping onto your personal brand, and of course when it comes to professionals, we're talking about people who actually want to maximize their presence or or really grow their LinkedIn community, because that is really one social network that I absolutely love. So on LinkedIn, you can actually publish articles as well. So I have here with me, a title called "Published Articles on LinkedIn." So the question now is, what kind of articles should you be producing to bring your B2B community back to your site? So again, what are you doing on the LinkedIn space that essentially will get them to come to your website at the end of the day? Right? So again, number of comments that you receive for the article, and what kind of keywords do you put as a hashtag, or make sure that these keywords are in your title and things like that for your LinkedIn profile. Now, the supporting creatives on LinkedIn is as such. I definitely think that again is videos, but with a twist, because this is you're talking about a B2B space here. So indefinitely you want to think about what kind of content would resonate with the B2B professionals vis-a-vis the customers on the ground, right? So this is really, really different. What we want to do is we want you to get an understanding of how to actually interchange between B2C and B2B marketing purely by content alone. And I think it's really important that you start to use this framework for your business, because it's really everyone is a plan, right? Everyone is a plan. So the last portion, of course, is growth hacking initiatives. Now, what is growth hacking? So if you hover around row AD, I've actually mentioned here that growth hacking is another methodology that is embedded to what is testable, trackable, and scalable. And I absolutely love growth hacking. What are you doing in the offline space or social media to actually, again, reaffirm yourself as a thought leader, and how you can actually bring more traffic through your thought leadership back to your website, right? So I hope the tabs in pink are very, very clear. Now I'm about to go on with the example. Stay tuned. All right, so on to our next video, where I will share with you the exact example that I have used for our business and how we have actually used that example against the content calendar that we have here for you. So again, let's go back to our content calendar itself. Now, this tab here that is on row A, it says here, long form content. Maybe I should just zoom out a little bit. Okay, it says the long form content is by and large the written word. That means you're talking about articles, guest blogs, and white papers and things like that. So this may be a consideration of how you actually want to move forward with your content strategy. So I have here, in fact, I have here as a comment as itself for you to get an understanding of what is long form content. So I hope that's clear. So let's go back to our calendar, right? And what I have here is I have the month in which I want to actually focus on for my Bycicle. And in this case, it's January, and I have an Instagram workshop to sell. So that is my SMART goal. So from this month, I divided it into weeks. So we have week 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this will then help me map out my stages of inbound, which is where are we at awareness, what are we doing on the second week for consideration, what are we doing on the third week, and what are we doing on the fourth week in particular. Remember your SMART goal. You want to convert 30 signups to the Instagram workshop. So what are you doing in terms of just using content alone to help them make a purchasing decision throughout the month? So I have here in me, I'm not going to go through everything because it's really very clear. I'm just going to go through the Bycicle of awareness, and then you can follow through the rest of the content calendar on your own. But here again, let me remind you that this is long form content. So we're talking about how you establish clout and raise awareness for your brand using only blogging opportunities. All right. So the theme of the week is Instagram feed versus stories. Okay. So the blog title that I have in mind is, my first blog title for the week could be 5 reasons why IG stories should be your focus in 2019. And I think this is quite a good title or quite a good blog article to even begin with, because you are at awareness stage. Some of the people don't even know what's Instagram, let alone what is Instagram feed and stories. So I think this is a good kickstart to actually get your audience move from awareness stage to the rest of the Bycicle. So this is a good intro title, and I thought it would be great to actually all right. So what I have here is that it is the gist of the blog that I'm about to write. So what I want to do is I want to write down exactly the kind of details that would include in my blog title. So in this case, because it is a blog of comparison to compare between IG feed and IG stories, my content details will be focused on the shift between how businesses have moved from the IG feed to stories, and to distinguish, most importantly, the difference between the two. So I think this is really important to set the stage of my first article, and the gist is right there. Now, in row K, you will see that the question now is, how then would you promote the article? I have here a strategy I thought is great. I will be promoted on Instagram stories by polling audience with thought-provoking questions using question stickers. So the idea here is you need to get as specific as you can with your strategy, because this will help remind you what to do when push comes to shove, when you have to promote your work on the social media platform. This is what it takes for you to actually make sure that your audience is resonating with the blog article. So it's very, very important that you be as detailed as possible in your content calendar. All right. So again, this is quite easy, quite straightforward. I just wanted to remind you that the incremental web traffic is something that you have to sit down at Google Analytics and really start measuring within the week. What is the difference between when I started with no blog on the topic matter and when I started with the blog on that particular topic. So you have to start measuring, and it's really, really easy on Google Analytics, because you can actually choose the days and the week that you really want to focus on. So what I have here is a percentage. It's 10% incremental change, and this is highly assumed that you will go to your Google Analytics and check this out for yourself. All right. Okay, so what's next? So assuming that I have other plans for my online initiatives, I am actually going to go on Quora, and I'm actually going to type in the question that I know a lot of people have a lot of questions on, and that is, what is an IG story? And this is something that a lot of people have a lot of questions on particularly stories, and then they don't have any understanding of like how stories can help them with the business. And I thought I'll just come in and chip in with maybe a 5 to 10 sentences of what is a breakdown of IG story vis-a-vis a feed, but not entirely my entire blog, but more like you are there to answer a particular question in the forum space. So I think that's really, really important. So I have here, this is a question on Quora, but you can go to any other forums that there are out there in the digital space, especially if it's a very niche forum in your industry. So I think you have to do a lot of research about the other forums that are available out there. But the idea here is to just get you to understand how important it is to really build your thought leadership just because or just by you helping someone else in the digital space. All right. So this is really, really important. So the keywords again, on our, what we have as a focus, these are the keywords that I want to focus, because again, according to Neil, on Uber Suggest, these are the typical keywords that everybody would love to have an answer for, especially when it comes to Instagram for business. So these are the keywords that I want to focus on. Again, measure the comments that you have, and then how are you repurposing the content if you must. So so here I have, if I'm going to repurpose the blog content as a video, this will be the title of my video. What businesses need to know about Instagram feed and stories in 2019. It could be a 1-minute video. It could be a 30-second video. It's really up to you. But this is the video title that complements the blog, or I'm using the blog to repurpose that content into a video format for everyone to watch and listen to on the social space, on social media platforms, or even my website. Why not, right? All right. So then again, it's a question of like, if you really want to build your thought leadership through the same topic matter, right? What are you doing in the B2B space? So in this case, I have a published article that I plan to write, and it's entitled, what B2B businesses can learn from B2C Instagram marketing. Can you see the flow of how I started off with having a SMART goal in mind, a long-form content in mind that I have with using one blog to help raise awareness to the workshop that I will sell at the end of the month. And I bring them into a journey where they can even watch a video about it. And of course, on LinkedIn space, I can also talk about it, but in a more B2B kind of tone, more research, more in-depth understanding, more insight, and all of that is focused on LinkedIn. So it's really up to you. This particular tabs X, Y, and Z may not be relevant to everyone, because not everyone is on LinkedIn, although I highly recommend that everyone should get onto LinkedIn. So you may want to just delete this tab, or if not, you can leave it there. It's really, really up to you. All right. So it's just that I wanted to make sure that you understand that the moment you actually extend that topic from your website, that topic that you have chosen, when you want to repurpose it and tweak it for a different social network, it must encompass a certain tone and a certain content for that particular audience, right? So a B2C content can still work for a B2B space. You just have to tweak it accordingly. All right. So then what's next is that if I assume that you're going to write an article already, you are going to have videos. I mean, LinkedIn is able to host your videos and things like that. So in order, again, for us to build clout for our Instagram workshop at the end of the month, we have here a video title that says 3 ways B2B businesses can learn from B2C Instagram marketing efforts. Again, it is the same title, but I'm just repurposing this as a video. So the question now is it possible for you to actually just reuse the title? Absolutely. So it's up to you. But as you can see, some in my other weeks I have here, it may not be the same. You may not want to consider using the same title, right? In a published article as a video title, but it complements that title published article. So it's up to you. The idea here is for you is to get you started on a content marketing journey that is more focused, that we have a written form content, and we also have a video form content. All of this would indefinitely resonate with your audience, and I promise you, far more engaging as a content creative, rather than not have a plan and just shoot whatever video or whatever articles that you have out there in the digital space. So let's try to be more concerted with our content marketing efforts. All right. So I think that's really, really important. I think everyone must inculcate all of that in your marketing efforts. The last portion of course, is the growth hacking initiative. So what am I doing in the offline space, right? In order for me to bring more traffic to my website, what am I doing to actually encourage people to basically sign up for my website? How can I get people to sign up for my website through other growth hacking initiatives? I thought, why not bring them on a journey I say here, a video coverage of site visit for the workshop. Maybe I can hold up my phone and then, like I can actually bring them into a journey where we are going through the, the classroom that I'll be teaching, or like the space that I'll be working at. And this will give them a visual understanding about where the workshop will be and how exciting an opportunity it can be for them. So this is indefinitely one way to growth hack and raise awareness to the fact that you are indeed selling a course and that you're using content to build interest amongst your audience. All right. Finally, on social media, you can also use IG Live opportunities. I think IG Live is fantastic. I love it. It's super engaging, and of course, this is a time where your audience can literally ask you questions like immediately. If they have anything at all to ask, they can ask you immediately on IG Live, and you can engage your audience and basically tell them what are your offerings, what is in store for the month, and things like that. So I think that is great. And as you can see from the entire calendar, this is what I have built from week 1 all the way to week 4. All right. So tell me, how do you feel? Let me know about how you feel about the calendar thus far. Do you think is important to even plan it out this way? Please take note that some of us may not plan the content accordingly, very strategically, like week 1, 2, 3, 4 will be awareness, consideration, decision in that order. Some of us would take about a month worth of content to basically just have one objective, which is to raise awareness. So it's really, really up to you. The idea here is for me to share with you the different Bycicles and bring you into a journey of what it means to actually have long form content for our business and move our audiences from one cycle to another, or one stage to another. All right. So leave a comment below to basically share with me your opinion about whether or not this has been beneficial to you thus far, and if you're enjoying this video at all. All right. On to my next one. Hang in there. We're almost done. Welcome to the final video to our content planner, and I certainly hope that you're doing okay thus far. Please leave us a reaction about how you feel about the video so far. How are you maneuvering through the content planner? Are you okay? Is everything all right on your end? Please leave us a comment if you have to. I would love to help and hear you out as to how I can do this better for you. All right. So this is a final thing to the entire content planning process, and it is of course short form content. Now, if you are a Nimble audience, you would definitely know that I have been producing a lot of videos, a lot of short form videos on our IG stories, and this is important for you to understand why it is important to actually get your short form content to complement the long form content. All right. So again, as a reminder, you must understand what is short form to begin with. And short form is essentially your videos as well as your static visuals that you have on your social media posts or networks. And this is considered short form, right? But of course, I do have an explanation of what short form content is. It's right here in this tab here. We can see that if you hover over the blue tab, it will say that short form content is essentially something that summarizes or solves problems or even surprise or shock your audience. So usually short videos that are very, very engaging, and I'm sure you know what I mean if you visit us on our Instagram platform. All right. So now on to the SMART goal. Now, as you can see, even with our short form content, we can actually have and can still work within the same realm of the SMART goal, which is essentially to get signups for our workshop. So we're going to go with the same SMART goal, which is to get signups for our workshop. But in this case, rather than writing a blog or an article or a podcast, we have here, right? We have here different tabs now that talks about videos. What are you doing on your stories? Static visuals, things like UGC content. What are you tweeting? GIFs or even infographics to actually as a creative for your short form content. So essentially, these are all the different types of creatives. The idea here is you have to start thinking about what are you doing within the short form content to actually, again, raise awareness to what you wish to promote at the end of the month, which is your Instagram workshop, right? So we are going with the same theme, right? It is not changed, or it has not changed, right? It is still Instagram feed versus stories, because we are all still at awareness stage, and that's week 1. Right? And then we're going to talk about this topic on a video, and this video title is what businesses need to know about Instagram feed and stories in 2019. It's the same title, but in this case, it is part and parcel of a short form strategy. The question now is, what are you doing on your IG stories? Are you promoting short form static content or video content on your stories, both on IG and Facebook? If yes, you can just indicate likewise. What are you doing? Do you have static visuals in mind? Are you using certain stock photos to actually send that particular message out to your audience? Are you doing all of that? What if I do not have time to plan my my static content or my static visuals, but I may want to use other content from other users and actually repost that on our social feed? Is that even allowed? Absolutely, you can definitely use UGC as part and parcel of your content short form strategy, because I absolutely love the fact that certain illustrations really bring out the subject matter at hand so clearly, so much fun to use, and I think it's great, right? So as long as you honor the person who produces that content, it is absolutely fine. As long as you honor and tag them, it is absolutely fine. So UGC may just be your particular strategy when it comes to getting awareness or raising awareness to your audience for a particular SMART goal. You may even be on Twitter, and if you are on Twitter, yes, you can indicate that you will be promoting this content on Twitter, right? You may just even want to produce a GIF for yourself, right? And if this is something that you think is important, then why not? You can actually use Easel. I love Easel.com, right? To actually produce your GIFs. I think it's great. You may or may not do infographics, or in this case, I'm not using any infographics to raise awareness to what I want at the end of the day. But some of us may just want to do that, right? So again, the same principle. It's just that short form content is just something a bit more curated in terms of creativity, because we're not writing, but in terms of the visual understanding of short form, or it has to be different from long form. It is not because it's not a written word. I expect videos, I expect visual statics. These are all the things that encapsulates of what we understand as short form content. But remember this, just because I'm producing short form content, it doesn't mean that I'm replacing long form content. I am suggesting that you actually marry and complement the both. It is important to have short form and also long form together, working hand in hand to actually get you closer to your SMART goal. All right, guys, I hope that's quite clear. Of course, the rest of it is actually quite self-explanatory, and I think it's again, I have here the growth hacking initiatives, just like my long form tab is right there for you to see as to how to now promote your content to be seen and heard faster to a larger audience. So I think that's really, really important. Now, that's it. That sums up the entire tutorial. I really, really hope you use this content calendar for your own business and really start having and placing a framework for your marketing efforts. Remember, it is no longer easy to create, to cut through the noise and create influence for yourself if you do not plan. So it's important that you plan ahead and plan very, very well, right? So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you enjoy the tool that we have given to you. And of course, please, you're more than welcome to connect with me via my personal email. That's bella.khaja@nimble.sg. Or you can definitely hit us with a comment, or visit us anytime at all on our social media pages. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Enjoy the rest of the day, enjoy the content calendar, and remember, social media is not an afterthought. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.